Welcome to Sober and Lit,
the podcast for women who want to get sober, stay sober, and live a life that's way more lit than it ever was with wine.
We're your hosts, Ruby and Susan, two alcohol freedom coaches keeping it real with stories, tools, and zero judgment.
Whether you're sober curious or all in, you're in the right place.
Let's feel lit alcohol free. Welcome back to the Feel It Alcohol Free podcast. I'm Coach Ruby. Coach Susan's here. We are so excited to talk about another myth buster. We're doing a little bit of a myth buster series, and there's a myth that sober people are deprived. And I definitely bought into that myth. So we came up with a good question here. So I believe I'm missing out on all the fun, the camaraderie, the connection, relaxation. I'm missing out on celebration, the taste, the restaurant experience, and I just won't be a part of my friend group. So what's FOMO anyway? Yeah, it's an acronym. I don't know if you've heard of it. A lot of people have heard of it. So FOMO is fear of missing out. And it's really that anxious feeling that you get when you think others are having more fun, or they're having the excitement, or they're having that rewarding experience without you. And maybe it's like seeing your friends at a party or on vacation or enjoying the night out. And it's in all of our social media and in our culture that we need this like alcohol to have fun, right? And if you're worried about being left out, maybe you're not just like living life to the fullest. And often this is exacerbated on social media. If you think about social media, they're not going to post when they're having, a hangover morning, or they're not going to post when actually the night out with friends turned into a shit show, right? That's not, you post them, it's fun, everything's fun. And yeah. So what do you think about this, Susan?
Well, FOMO, fear of missing out, everything that you said is things I hear from my clients for sure. And also things that I thought. Like for my story, I think all the times that I was exploring my drinking, my desire was to be able to drink for special occasions, special dinners out, vacations, holidays, because I did fear that I would be missing out, right? And that's what kept me from being successful, to be honest with you, right? I always went back to drinking because that was my goal. And so sometimes when I'm coaching people, we really have to get clear on what is your goal,
Right.
And until I decided that, I got to the point where I just knew alcohol wasn't working for me. So the way to think about is, what are you missing out when you are drinking? What was I missing out or deprived from drinking? Like completely turning it around. Well, I was missing out on making these memories, or I was missing out on true self-care because of the way alcohol was affecting my mental health, my body. We take the FOMO and turn it on its head and question it. And that's what helped me like finally let go. And I think I might have shared this story where I had this moment in New York when I was visiting my daughter, and we were going out to dinner, and I was just looking, at all the glittering wine glasses and having that feeling of like, oh, it's so beautiful, this glittering gem colors of ruby in these cups, and in these beautiful glasses. And then I just had the thought that that's just not for me. And I likened it to a vegetarian smelling a hamburger and thinking, oh, that smells good, but I don't eat meat. And it was like I could look out and say, yeah, that looks beautiful, but I don't drink. And I have convictions and reasons why I don't drink, because it doesn't serve me overall, And so there was no reason to keep it in my life, because it's something that just had too many negative side effects, honestly. And I don't feel deprived at all. Like once you can make that shift from FOMO to JOMO, as we're going to talk about JOMO, then that thing that was hooking me was completely let go. So, but I was definitely in the FOMO,
Yeah.
category for a long time.
I really relate to this listener's question and what you've been saying, Susan. And I definitely, because I worked in the wine industry, as a lot of our listeners know, and like it was so much a part of everything, right? I literally was like, how am I going to live my life? Like what I couldn't even like fathom. How would I go through life? How would I go out to dinner? How would I have a family, Thanksgiving? How would I go out with friends? Like what's interesting is when I think about my life, and maybe you can relate if you're out there listening, where the things that I started to do were all about alcohol. And it's like I chose those things. I had people around me that did the same things and drank as much as me. So it really was like kind of feeding itself. Like the things we would do all involved alcohol. So I literally had no idea. Like, what do you do if you're not wine tasting, going out to dinner and having wine, going to game night and having wine? Or I even like going to get my pedicure. They would serve me wine. It just started to be everywhere. And I thought, well, is it going to be fun to have a pedicure if I'm not drinking? Is it going to be, what do we even do? But what's interesting is when you start to like you were saying, Susan, like notice other things. Like I think one of my big awarenesses was the first time I went out to a friend's house for dinner, and they're in the wine industry with me. And I remember, okay, I'm not going to drink tonight. I kind of made that decision and just to experiment to see what is this going to be like? Do I really miss out, or what's happening here? And I thought it was actually so boring. Like they brought out the champagne, and then they talked about that it tastes this way and has these flavors. And it was all talking about that. And before I would be all into it, right? Because I would be drinking. And then they brought out the white wine, and it was all this conversation about, and then the red wine, and they were getting drunk. And I just had such a different experience. It was like a new awareness. And I think this is what I want for all of you guys, is like just to look at it as like it could be a new experience. What's really true. And it's a process. It's not like I just felt really comfortable right away. I did kind of feel uncomfortable for a little bit of time. And as you get more and more of these, we call them friggin' first times, FFTs, under your belt, like where you meet friends, or you try the Thanksgiving dinner, the birthday, the date night with your spouse, and eventually, and you start to notice that you just feel better alcohol free. Yeah. So, I mean, the myth and the point that we're making here is that because of social media and because of our culture and advertising and marketing, they want us to think, we'll say they want us to think that it's super duper fun. Did you ever see this ad, Susan? It's like, I think it was on YouTube or something, where it's an alcohol free kind of ad, but it starts out with like, yay, they're at a bar, a pub, and they're like, yay, we're all drinking. And then they fast forward to like 2 hours later or 3 hours later, and everybody's puking. Fighting. They look horrible. They're crying. Like women have the, mascara down their face, and they're falling over. But that's the truth for a lot of, partying, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Digging into that of what are you really missing out on? And again, it is all our cultural conditioning that you need alcohol to connect, that a good meal has to have alcohol. And you even talked about that in our Drink Responsibly episode, is that message is coming to us from, guess who? The alcohol industry.
And everyone, right? We see it on social media. Our friends are posting, wearing Rose All Day t-shirts and posting these things. And it's from marketing.
Yes.
Marketing is, especially women and, the mommy culture. We have a couple of guest episodes around mommy wine culture, and it is really, really fascinating how it's like ingrained.
Yeah, totally. And so that's the process, is just to sort of start to unwind those beliefs that we have and go, I call it like following it back to the cave. Like, where did this belief originate, and is it true? And like you said, it's experimenting. And yes, it's gonna feel different for sure. And it might feel a little bit uncomfortable. But as you start to unwind these thoughts and really ask yourself, is it true? Is it really true that I'm missing out if I'm, again, with clients, I come back to it. It's a beverage. Why, if I have iced tea in my glass and you have wine in yours, are we not connecting? Like, of course we're connecting. We're having a conversation. Now, maybe at some point, if the person who's drinking gets too inebriated, then maybe we're not connecting, but that's because of the alcohol. So the alcohol truly isn't a connector. It is a barrier to connection. So, right. So that,
even when I see someone, so I don't drink alcohol. So I really observe others a lot. And like when they just have a sip or two, I can almost see a veil go over them. And it's almost like they change personalities. Even with just a few sips, it's just, or some of my friends even come out, I call them like the mean one, like when they're drinking, their personalities just change. They might, some people are weepy or poor me. Some people are, angry. Some people are mean. I mean, I could be a little snarky and mean when I drank a lot, and it's not my true personality. But in reality, so if we go back to the myth, like in reality, and this is what I hear from my clients, once you're alcohol free and you've gone through some of that awkwardness and you start to really experience true joy again, true happiness again, belly laughs, really the fun comes back. It really does come back, and actually maybe even better than when you were drinking, because I'm a better listener. I remember going to game night. I would be like, hey friend, how are you? And because I had been drinking, I couldn't even listen to the response. And then she would ask me, how are you? And she wasn't listening to my response. I remember these conversations were so weird. When I think back, it was at surface level conversations and not even listening to each other. I have such deeper friendships now. I'm not kidding. I'm not lying. I am telling you the truth, really listening and connecting. And I love it so much more. I sleep better. I look younger. I feel better. I've made so many new friends alcohol free. So this is all possible for you, and it's not that my drinking friends went away. Maybe our relationship shifted a little bit, but no, actually, it's all improved. I would say 100% has improved. There's maybe one or two people that was just a friendship around alcohol. Yeah. But would you like to, I know we touched on JOMO, but do you want to define it? And what is JOMO, Susan?
Well, JOMO is another acronym, which stands for the joy of missing out. And the meaning of JOMO is really just to embrace the idea of finding joy and contentment, of opting out and prioritizing your self-care. JOMO focuses on doing what you love instead of feeling guilty and shame for missing out on things that others are doing. So I would say the JOMO is flipping the FOMO on its head. It is the JOMO of going out with your friends and you not drinking. The JOMO is how amazing you feel the next morning, or that you fully remember the evening. And then the next morning, the JOMO is that you're up and having your coffee out with the sunrise and going to the farmer's market or whatever it is, say it's a girls' weekend. The JOMO is taking off your makeup every night and being able to look yourself in the eye and say, I did what I said I would do. The JOMO is just truly enjoying the food and the atmosphere and truly enjoying a relaxing, amazing vacation and not getting home and feeling like you need a vacation from your vacation because, we would laugh when we would go on vacation and come home and go, oh my God, we got to go to detox, and we'd feel like crap after a vacation, of drinking so much. So here I was trying to hold on to alcohol to be able to drink on vacation. And when I really looked into it, it was no, that is not self-care. That is not really bringing me joy, So what do you think JOMO is, or what's a description of JOMO for you?
Well, for me, JOMO, so it's literally the joy of missing out. So if you just think about it like you're not drinking alcohol, and where's the joy in it? And I do the same sort of things as you, where I think one of my biggest tactics, though, is observing others, where I'm out at a party or I'm out somewhere and I look at other people and and then I go, I literally say, thank God I'm not that person. Like, I'm not the person, being mean or slurring or, falling over and then I kind of go forward too, like, oh, thank you. I don't have to worry about getting a DUI. I say that to myself and I worry for others. And I used to worry for myself all the time, but I don't have to worry anymore. I can just safely drive home. I say the same thing as you. Like, I get to put my head on the pillow and like have really good sleep tonight. Sleep is so important to me. Like, I love it. And then you can play it forward to the next morning. I get to wake up. I get to so it's all about what do you get? It's not what you're going to lose, right? Yeah. You lose alcohol, one thing, but you gain so much more, and it's exponential growth, because it feeds on itself. The more you have a good night's sleep, you get that 90 days in a row, good night's sleep, you're going to feel better everywhere. Your body's going to start to maybe even lose weight, look younger. Like, all these things really do happen. It's so true.
They do.
Yeah. But I want to just touch on, we talked about social media and like that you can have your Facebook account, with all the drinking going on, or your friends that drink and post, wine tasting or post all that, but I think the opposite can be true, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I suggest accounts to my clients all the time to follow sober accounts on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, whichever platform you follow, because that is how you start to deprogram all of the cultural norms that we've been programmed our whole life, because you start to see other people enjoying their life alcohol free. And you see, oh, this is possible. There are these amazing, beautiful people, and it's not toxic positivity. Like, people are genuinely posting, hey, I went on vacation and had a great time. Look at this, look at that, look at this. I mean, it's still social media. You're not going to see everybody, nobody's life is completely joyful all the time. So, right? And
yes,
so
alcohol-free life can be lifey. Yes, we still have stress, or that still happens. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that, and I think that that's just the thing about social media to even be careful of. Maybe you don't even, you take a break from social media, because that's a dopamine detox as well, is to take a break from social media. But if you are going to be on social media and enjoy it, and, I would encourage following me, following Ruby, following some other people that post about the benefits of being alcohol free, because then you just start to deprogram. Because I want to also just say, if you have FOMO, there's nothing wrong with you. That is normal because of the cultural conditioning we've been having. And then it's just this process of deprogramming that, of reprogramming our brain. And people could say, oh, you're just brainwashing. Well, you were already brainwashed. We were already brainwashed around all these quote unquote benefits of alcohol, which actually, when you look into each and every single one of them, there is no benefit.
I know that could be our next series, is like, yeah, we believe alcohol relieves stress. We believe alcohol gives us a good night's sleep, like all those things. But what I want to say is you can totally curate your social media feeds, and you can defollow, I don't know the right words, but unfollow and, block, or just different things that are not aligning with your values. You can, and you're allowed to change what you think is fun. So as I age, when I was in my 20s, yes, drinking, binge drinking, partying, whatever, that was super fun. But now it's just, as I'm alcohol free and learning some new things, it's like I can just, walk, garden, I still have amazing times with friends out to dinner, and I enjoy the food now way more. And food and alcohol, that's also just a myth, that food tastes better with alcohol. We're coming up with lots of topics now, Susan.
Yeah, because that's not true. That's not true.
Not true. There's so many not truths. Yeah. But so you're talking about social media. I'm more of a book and audiobook. Not more. I'm just saying, I want to talk about that. I love, like, in my first year of my alcohol-free journey, I read so much Quit Lit. Like, I was like addicted to it. There, new addiction. But
well, let's explain what Quit Lit is, because I've used that term before and people are like, what's that?
What?
So
yeah, quitting alcohol. Books, literature, or novels. A lot of times they're memoirs. You know, they're telling the truth or telling their stories, or it could be, there's so many different, sometimes it's more of a formula. Like 2 books that really represent JOMO for me, that joy of missing out. My number 1 is We Are the Luckiest by Laura McCowan, because I just so related to her. She was so raw in her book. And then that concept of JOMO, that concept of we are the luckiest, really resonates with me as a coach and as an alcohol-free person in this movement, where we who have had alcohol addiction, if you relate to that and you think you're there, it's a deep, dark place, right? It's life is very black and white, but when you get out of it, it's almost like an experience where I see the light. So I don't know. I don't want to sound like I'm religious or anything, but there was a spiritual element to where I went, I am really lucky. I experienced that deep darkness. I know what that's like, and I don't want that anymore. And to come out and really, it's like black and white to Technicolor. You know, it's like that movie,
Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz, Wizard of Oz, where it's like black and white and then like Technicolor. It really feels like that. And so I actually started to go, wait, my alcohol addiction, what if I'm lucky I had it? You know, now I'm a coach. I changed careers. I've met so many wonderful people, and I get to like have all this clients that I just love my clients so much. The life is so different. And so we are the luckiest. The other book I want to recommend is Catherine Gray's The Unexpected Joy of Being Sober. That one really, really resonated with me about the joy of, she uses the word sober. We often use alcohol free, but that joy, the joy comes back. It really comes back. The joy of missing out.
Yeah.
So those are my two recommendations today. Sorry, Susan.
No. I love all those books, as well as there's one that I really resonated with, which is called The Sober Lush. And it's funny because I didn't identify with saying, obviously I'm an alcoholic, and I didn't know the term gray area drinking when I first started exploring my drinking, but I just thought that I was a lush. Like I was somebody who just liked drinking, you know what I mean? And I was doing a little too much of it in my life. And so when I saw that book, The Sober Lush, I was like, ooh, that's for me. What I love about it is it's short little chapters. So I could read it like a short chapter right before I went to bed. There's 2 female writers from like a slightly different perspective. And it is all about building this luscious life and how lush sobriety can be.
It truly is.
And I really liked that a lot. So that helped me in the beginning of my journey as well. That's great. Yeah.
Well, this has been really fun to kind of just talk about that myth that sober people are deprived, when in reality, when you get alcohol free, you will also discover that the opposite is true. So thank you so much for listening to this. It's a really big myth out there that's it feeds by the social media and marketing and the alcohol industry. So yeah, we are on our soapbox today, but yeah. So this is a great time to ask Susan, hey, Susan, what are you doing to feel lit in your life these days?
Oh my goodness. Well, I started a new practice. I have been diving deep into some somatic work and to really learn ways to regulate my nervous system more. And, we talk about the gift in things. I have been struggling with some health issues, some gut issues. And the gift in it is that it set me down this path of really exploring more deeply somatic practices and nervous system regulation. And so one of the things that I've adopted from all of the teachings that I've been going through is this practice of the 5 Tibetan rites. They're ancient exercises known for their rejuvenating effects on the body and the mind. They help balance your energy centers and they enhance your vitality and detoxification. And I have noticed a benefit. So what I say to clients all the time is you experiment with something and then you see how it makes you feel.
Exactly.
And then is that something that you want to keep a practice in your life? So it's not about like, these 5 things are what you need to do. It's like, no, you need to find the thing that works for you. And so I thought, well, I'm going to try this. So it also supports your nervous system regulation through the movement, body awareness, and it also shifts us towards a more regulated or ventral vagal state. And so it's just these 5 movements that you do in sequential order. I do them in the morning. It's kind of replaced my stroga, which was sort of my stretching yoga practice that I would do in the morning. And I do feel a release in my gut when I do it. And I feel like everything comes alive afterwards. Like it's just a great way to wake up and move my body and kind of wake up every part of my body before starting my day. So that's what I've been doing. And
what are the 5 exercises? And
okay,
people can just look it up too.
Yeah, you can look it up. I mean, I'm not teaching it here. I don't want to feel like I'm teaching it, but if you want to explore it, I would definitely look it up. But so the first one is spinning. You just spin in a clockwise and you have your head at a special angle, and that just sort of wakes everything up. And at first you feel super dizzy. Mm-hmm. And then you need to, calm down. And I thought that was weird at first. I'm like, this is weird. Yeah. But I decided to experiment with it for like a week, and I noticed, or 2 weeks, I've been doing it now for a while, but I've noticed over time that I'm not as dizzy after doing the same amount of spinning. I'm hardly dizzy at all. So that's really interesting. And that spinning is supposed to get all of your chakras, as they say, spinning in the morning. So it's like waking up all of your chakras. And I haven't been a super chakra follower either, to be honest with you, but I just see it as kind of just waking up my body, right? And what's interesting is I've noticed I don't get as dizzy. So that's interesting.
That's a benefit.
Yeah. And then the next one is it's an inversion where you bring your feet up. Then the next one is a back bend move, and it's to wake up your throat. So for people who are listening, I was just doing a little demonstration. Then the next one is doing tabletop. So it's kind of the opposite of
the reverse tabletop,
the reverse tabletop. And then the next one is upward dog to downward dog. So yes. Undulation of those. And it really, it definitely wakes up my gut. I won't go into details, but I noticed, and I think that it's releasing tension in that area. It's releasing tension in other parts of my body. And so I've just really been enjoying that. That before I go put my feet in the grass, which everyone who knows me knows that I go put my feet in the grasses in the morning if I can, and then get my face into the sunshine. But the 5 Tibetan rites, very interesting.
And we just talked this morning that I'm actually I just call them the 5 Tibetans. That's the way I learned them. And I'm also very interested in this practice and have been following, and talking about doing it for a couple of months now, which is funny because we never talked about it. So I've only done it a few times. I haven't made it a regular practice yet. So I think because of the dizziness, but you're saying it goes away. So I'm excited to maybe make it a regular practice. And so you do each one 21 times. At least that's what I was told.
Yes, but I would not start with that. I started doing each one 3 times. So I wouldn't start doing 21. No, absolutely not. Yeah. Just work your way up to what feels good for you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for listening, everyone. Yeah. We love our listeners. So we've got a couple of communities out there. You can find us on Facebook, Feel It Alcohol Free. And that's our kind of free group if you like Facebook. But if you don't like Facebook, we're actually spending more time on our band community, and it's free. So we'd love to see you in our community. We can support you. You can ask questions, and there's like-minded people there. So join.
What I love about band is it's not social media. So you're not going to go on there and see all the other stuff. You're just going to be with us. And people, we're there to support you. So, and it's private. You're not going to accidentally post in your own, people freak out like, who else can see me here? So it's very private, and it's really small right now. So it's a really great place to connect with us. We'll put the link in the show notes. So or just reach out to one of us and we'll send you a link. Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks so much for listening to the Sober and Lit podcast.
If you enjoyed this episode, we would love it if you would subscribe, rate, and review. It really helps get the word out.
And remember, do something today to help you feel lit.
See you next week.